Howdy people, welcome to another video on the channel. Today is the latest installment of the Forest transfer video. I do assure you these are not the only thing I do produce. However, sorry it wasn't a match review. It's just Friday games. I can very rarely, if ever, do match reviews to Monday games and Friday games. They're just a pain to do because of how busy my Saturdays are. So yeah, apologies for that, but yeah, there should only be one video this week as well. I'm slacking, I know, but I'm hoping for 2 or 3 videos the following week as well. So apologies for that, but yeah, sorry. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the latest instalment of our transfers. First off, we are kickstarting with some sort of youth news. Theo Avery signs from Mansfield. He's a 17-year-old goalkeeper, more for the future. Imagine he'll probably be playing in the youth setup for a year or 2 and then might be loaned out. But yeah, nah, quality, I don't really know. I've never really watched him play. So yeah, I can't really comment any further. Our next substantial bit of news is Gustavo Scarpa has completed his loan move to Olympiacos. Yeah, it's a shame it did not work out for him. It's just injuries, personal matters, etc. It just it's not quite worked, and I do think we should have kept him really, because if Gibbs White gets injured, if Johnson does leave, then we're in a bit of a pickle in terms of the attack. So I personally would have kept him around, but it's not quite worked, unfortunately. Didn't register a goal or an assist, but he showed promise, put in good performances, but just it doesn't really have anything to show for it, unfortunately. But he goes to Olympiacos, and his loan most likely will become permanent. Now for the rumours. The first rumour is Nuno Tavares. So reports came out recently, first time from Fabrizio Romano, saying that Forest are interested in Arsenal left back, left wing back, who was out on loan at Marseille in France last season. He made 39 appearances there, getting 6 goals. Didn't really get up and running at Arsenal, if you do remember correctly. He was dragged off after about 20-30 minutes when they played us in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. Yeah, hasn't really got up and running at Arsenal, but he had a very successful loan spell last year at Marseille. And if we can reignite that form from Marseille, then I think he will be a good option to have at left back, especially when Aina has picked up a bit of an injury. And Nico Williams isn't an out-and-out left back, so, and Toffolo's ban, and we don't really know what Omar Richards does offer. So yeah, another left back would be useful. And if we're going to persist with this 3/5 at the back, then we need sort of a left wing back, and that's what he does offer. He's a left wing back. That's where he's got his best performances. Arsenal fans say that he's a left wing back, not a left back. So yeah, I think if we can play him in that role, then I think we can get a lot of good out of him. The next player is Florento Lewis, yet another midfielder. I do have my doubts over this one though, because Liverpool are also interested. And yeah, I think Liverpool will have more funds available. He's going to cost a healthy amount of money. I believe I read something that's about 35 million quid. So yeah, I severely doubt that we are going to be able to get him in, especially if Liverpool are interested. He did get 54 appearances though last season while playing for Benfica in Portugal, and he registered 3 assists. He looks absolutely quality, don't get me wrong. Good DM, very good at breaking the play up, sort of almost like a centre back that can progress the ball forwards a bit more. Quality, range of passing looks absolutely brilliant. Brilliant at driving the ball forwards, and he'll be great. But Liverpool also do need some midfielders. And if he has the choice between us and Liverpool, he's just going to choose Liverpool. There's no other way of putting it. And we can get midfielders that are cheaper as well. So it makes sense. And unless we sell Johnson, we don't have loads to work with financially. The next player is Samuel Elling Jr. Apologies if I did butcher his name slightly, but he's a very young, exciting 19-year-old winger who's currently playing out in Italy for Juventus. Forest are looking at more wingers because we have Johnson and Alanga. That's it. And even Johnson's not. Some would say I'd say he's a winger, but other than those two, we haven't got loads of winger options. So we could do with some more. However, there is a lot of other clubs that are interested. The only named Premier League club that I can see is Crystal Palace. So yeah, obviously with Cooper's track record of bringing youth players through, there's a chance that we could maybe persuade him to come to Forest. Juventus value him at 17 million. Last season, he made 29 appearances, getting 6 goals and 4 assists, playing just 1,428 minutes, which is quite good to get those numbers in that amount of time. And I think he will be a very good signing. Even if he isn't consistently starting week in, week out, we can definitely mould him and develop him into a player in a year or two down the line. I think he looks like a very quality player. Very good at cutting in, got a very good burst of pace from what I've seen. I think especially if we can, get that valuation a little bit below 15 million with some smart negotiation tactics, I do think we could have a very good player on our hands, and I think he could be a very good signing. The next player is more of a centre-half CDM, Trevor Chalobah. Now, we have been linked with him for quite a while, if you can cast your minds back to last year. As much as being linked with every single player under the sun, we were linked with Trevor Chalobah. We've had long-standing interest in him, and with a lot of first-team players coming ahead of him, with the likes of Silva, Colwill, etc. being ahead of him, Chelsea are willing to offload him. He did get a handful of appearances last season. He made 33 first-team appearances, but he did get less than 2,000 appearances. So he's used more of a impact substitute, tighten things up at the back. And we're obviously looking to bulk up our defence, and he adds that bit of experience as well, and still just, 23, 24 years of age. I think he'll be a very good signing, very good on the ball, and yeah, I do hope that our back three for the rest of the season isn't Bolly, Warren, McKenna, because especially in the last game against Sheffield United, we did almost get exposed on a good time or two. And overall, I do think we could get him for £10 million or less, which would not be too bad in the slightest. I don't think anyone else is interested in him, which is a good thing, which means that we've got even more of a chance of signing him. So I do think he will be a very good addition, especially if we can get it for less than 10 million. I'll be very happy with that. And the final player would be a brilliant addition, Youssouf FOFANA. He is another midfielder who's 24 and playing out in France for Monaco. Honestly, if we could pull this off, I do think this would be a brilliant signing and a statement of intent. The only really out-and-out number 6 really defensive midfielder we have is Mangala. We do have Freuler, but he looks like he's going to be leaving for Juventus. So I think maybe that Freuler deal could come into part with Junior that I just mentioned a moment ago. However, I do think FOFANA will be a statement of intent. We do need another DM. As much as Mangala, he wasn't great against Sheffield United, but if he gets injured, we've really got no one else, because I refuse to play John Joe Shelby. Genuinely, I'd rather just play with 10 men for 90 minutes than play Shelby. It's genuinely how passionate I feel. At least Chris Wood came up clutch. Shelby has never done that, and Shelby almost certainly will never do that. But FOFANA, he looks brilliant. He can just lock the midfield down. Brilliant at getting the ball forward, starting attacks, which is what we want when we try and play on the counter. Also very good in possession as well, which is what I hope we can do at times this season, control the ball a little bit more, have more possession, dominate teams, because I think that's what we should have tried to do against Sheffield United, but we didn't at times, and let them have chances, which were very avoidable. He made 47 appearances for Monaco, getting 2 goals and 2 assists, which from defensive midfield is not too bad. He will cost a pretty penny though. I believe it's £29.5 million or 35 million euros is what he will cost us. But there's no doubt the amount of quality he will add. The only downside is there's a chance he might have to learn the language. There might be a bit of a team bonding almost issue. But overall, I think he will be a very good signing. However, I do imagine there will be other clubs that are interested, so it might be, this deal might go on a little bit, and maybe it might not even get done till right towards the end of the window. Now moving on to the outgoings, this is a bit of news here. Brandon O'Gillera, I've definitely butchered his name, apologies, but I'm just going to refer to him as Brandon. Cooper has confirmed that he will be staying on at the club until at least January, which I think is fair. In pre-season he has impressed, and I think that's the reason he's staying on until January. He'll probably play some under 23 games, might maybe play in a cup game or two, depending on how far we progress in the Carabao Cup. So yeah, he might feature in some of those games. However, yeah, I think that's smart, and then if we can get an appropriate loan, then I think that's fair. He was out on loan last season, so yeah, I think that's smart to assess how he performs at the under-23s and see what clubs are interested in him. I think that's very fair. And then Lewis O'Brien is heavily linked with moves to the Championship. We have rejected Sheffield United's bid of around 10 million for him, which is fair, because there is a chance that they will be within the same region as us. of the table, and there is numerous Championship clubs that are interested in getting him on loan. To be honest, I think we should keep him. He's just as good as what we've got. He can definitely make a case in starting in that midfield. He's better than Freuler, he's better than Shelby. So personally, I would keep him, but maybe loan him out for a season, get him some more game time, and then maybe come back. But for me, it just makes sense to keep him. But yeah, I think maybe a top-end Championship club, and I think that'll be a very, very a smart thing to do, but I personally think we should keep him. And the latest update in the Brennan Johnson saga. West Ham and Chelsea have both reportedly stepped up their interest. Spurs are still long-standing interested in them. Now, the last couple of games, he's not really performed to the standard that he set the last couple of years. That could be a player part because of these transfers going around in his mind. So yeah, you've got to cut him some slack there. However, the three clubs that are interested both have money. A lot of it. Chelsea are just rich in general. They've made so much in sales, and they just splashed the cash. West Ham just got about 110 million for Declan Rice. They have spent a little bit of it, but they still have the best part of that left. Spurs have just gained 100 million for Harry Kane. However, I almost can certainly confirm that Chelsea will want to mess us about with these instalments. So, quite frankly, if they don't pay a minimum of £50 million up front, we shouldn't entertain the deal. West Ham, personally, I think we should be pushing them for as much as possible, purely because we know they have money. We should push them for 50 million as the minimum, try and even squeeze 60 out of them, just because they have money. We know they have money, so demand more fees. I just think that makes sense. Spurs especially did not spend, to my knowledge, any of that money since Harry Kane has departed. So they've got even more money. So yeah, it just makes sense to try and demand more when you've got clubs that are heavily interested and you know that they have got funds. I think personally selling to Spurs or Chelsea, because West Ham, there's a chance they will be in the similar region of the league of us compared to Chelsea and Spurs, who will be pushing for top 6. So you've got to bear that in mind. However, that is it for this transfer video. Apologies, I've been slacking a bit recently, but yeah, I have got some stuff coming soon. I do promise there are some big videos on the way very soon. I've just been very busy as of late. But thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. If you never want to miss a video, turn the notifications bell on, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.